It was under President Nixon. It was like I'm not sure if it was someone in his cabinet, and I forget his name, unfortunately, but the term he used was benign neglect, right? It was, well, because what happened in the Bronx was, in this terrible situation, like, there were all sorts of things going wrong. There were riots, and like kids started like forming gangs because there was so much disorganization. And then the pressure that put on other kids was to make their own gangs, protect themselves from kids in those gangs. And then you have gang culture basically proliferating all over the Bronx. And so if that's what's going on, the political attitude should hopefully be something that's trying to help these people, right? But it was the opposite. Like I said, they called it benign neglect. It was neglect for your own good, because you people can't figure your stuff out. We're going to leave you alone until you do. And that was the attitude in the Bronx, which is, yeah, pretty relevant, yeah. Well, you can think about it. I mean, I wonder how much it comes into play in other contexts that are not as obvious in different ways. I think we suffer from a lot of different sorts of neglect in our culture in different ways. And maybe that's why hip-hop is relatable. Outside of just a situation like the Bronx. Maybe it's sort of like people get pushed to the edge in a really extreme situation, but it sort of highlights one of the central problems in our general culture, and maybe that's why hip hop is something that people can relate to. But pretty much, like, in just one little fact, like they would even do stuff like pull fire department funding out of the Bronx. When the buildings were burning and stuff like that. It's crazy. This is a situation that breaking comes from. And in fact, it's interesting, and not just breaking, but hip hop in general. And of course, there's a lot of frustration with the situation that people are experiencing, right? A lot of anger, a lot of aggression, because there's literal violence that they're experiencing, that their friends and their families are experiencing, and people are dying, and like all these really bad things are happening. And people had to find a way to put their true reaction to that, which was an action of this is wrong, and aggression and literal violence, into something that was no longer going to be self-destructive. And so you can think about hip-hop as sort of a way that people intelligently found a way to use that true energy in a non-self-destructive way. And so if you look at breaking, of course, breaking, we've got battles, But even before breaking, there's this other style of dance that is really the predecessor to breaking, and it's called rocking. That's why, if any of you, I know some of y'all took my class today, rocking, like top rock, right? Rocking up top, it kind of gets its name from that, and also down rock, getting to the ground and rocking down. But the original name for this dance is called rocking. And Max, if you want to talk a little bit about the history of rocking,